What's up everybody, Tech Chucker here, and today we're going to take a look at the new Marvel Legends X-Men Juggernaut Wave Deadpool. And this is clearly the must-have figure of 2016. Everybody is going out looking for it. Now, people may be looking for it so that they can go sell it on eBay or wherever for a huge profit, because this thing's been going for a lot. But if you're lucky and you've managed to pick this one up already, it has been hitting stores for the last couple of weeks, you are not going to be disappointed. So let's crack this thing open and take a closer look. All right, let's take a look at the articulation on this figure. Now, we've seen this body mold quite a few times, so there's nothing too extraordinary about it. He can look up all the way, that's great. He can look down all the way. He can get his chin down into his chest, which is also great. No issues there. Side to side, no problems. And then he's barely got a little bit of tilt in the head, and so that's nice. Would be nice if it was a little better, but you know, we can't complain. We've seen this before. Shoulders are a ball peg, and he can raise them above his shoulders, which is awesome. And then he's got full rotation of the arm, as we would expect. No problems there. Upper bicep swivel, pretty standard. Double jointed elbows. He can bend over 90 degrees. Might be able to get a little bit more of a bend there, but and then there's a peg joint and a hinge joint in the wrists, and he can bend down or curl down really well. Curling up can be a little bit of a problem if you turn it so that the wrist piece isn't blocking it. Then you'll have better articulation or movement. It does bend a little bit, so you won't have any problems. You can still get that to move. Ab crunch, he's got a hinged ab crunch, and let's see if I can get this to go. Looks like that's about as far as he'll go. I kind of wish that would have been a little bit better. Back arch, also not much there. So, but he's got a waist swivel, no issues there. The belt doesn't get in the way of that, and it's hidden very nicely, so I'm happy with that. In the waist, hips, he's got he's got T-jointed ball joints. Not much for splits. Wish it would have been a little bit better. He can kick forward this much, pretty much straight out. That's good. Happy with that. He can kick back up this far, which is pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with that. And then he's got an upper thigh cut, which the paint, obviously, it breaks the paint costume there, but it's relatively unnoticeable. And then he's got double jointed knees, bends almost all the way in half. Great, good there. And an upper shin boot cut, and that's hidden nicely with the sculpt of the shins. And then the ankle, he can move back about that far, which is about standard. Moving forward is hindered by the shin pads, but he can move forward a little bit, so that's good. And then there is an ankle rocker, which works really well. So overall, I'm pleased with the articulation. I'm not surprised by any of it, because we've seen this body mold. We all knew that Deadpool was going to be cast in pretty much this entire body mold, so no big surprises. Would have been nice to have a little bit more flexibility in some of the areas, you know, like in the hips for doing the splits and whatnot, but I'm still pretty happy with what we got. All right, so as I noted already, this sculpt we've seen before. It's pretty much the Bucky Cap body sculpt, and I'm happy with that. But the head is definitely unique. It definitely is a Deadpool head sculpt. The one thing that a lot of people have noted is that the eyes are shaped a little bit differently. It looks like the right eye of his is squinting a little bit. It just looks a little funny, but the rest of the head sculpt is nice. I like that they got the little tail of the mask molded in. That looks nice. The eyes do look nice. I like the additions that of armor that they added on, like on these wrists. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Well, There we go. So they sculpted these wrist armor plates really nicely, and I'm happy with this harness that has the side, what are they, scabbards or whatever. Those are really nice. They're pretty pliable, so they'll bend, but they're molded nicely. And then the belt with the these grenades, they look really good. There's great detail work on them, and we'll talk about some of the issues with them in the paint section, as you can see. But all of these pouches and whatnot are Deadpool. I mean, that's exactly what we expect. And even these shin pads look pretty nice. They look kind of battle worn. They're sculpted nicely. The boots are nice and sculpted with the belt buckles. Even the bottoms have some tread. So overall I'm really happy. You can see he's got another knife sheath on his shin. Overall they did a great job adding to an already good body mold. I'm glad that they started with this body mold and then they actually did add to it. And let's talk about the alternate head, because this thing is sculpted really well. Normally I talk about these in the accessories, but they did a great job sculpting this head. You can see just the diseased, disgusting skin. They did a phenomenal job on this head. I mean, this to me is probably one of the best head sculpts that Hasbro has provided us. Um, it's just a perfect representation of Deadpool or Wade Wilson. So overall, sculpt wise, this is more than a 5 out of 5. They knocked this one out of the park. All right, so paint on this figure is probably the weakest of all of the points that I would look at, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. In the face, they did a good job. It's a good clean paint. You can see the eyes are painted white, and the black they did really clean. I'm happy with how the head turned out. Uh, there are a few issues, and let's see if we can focus in here, but on the chest there's definitely some quality control issues with the paint. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that to focus in. There we go. You can see it just it looks like they just slipped, and I don't know. The rest of it looks really good. I like these silver spots that are painted on. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but the one issue that I do have is pretty much none of the holsters and pouches have any paint on them. They're just cast in this brown, which looks nice, but there's no paint on them, and so they just kind of look cheap. So if they had added a little bit of shading, that would have been nice. I do think too, on the legs, I would have liked to see a little bit more red rather than all that black. But overall, I'm happy with the way that the paint came out. It's a fairly simple paint job. You can see on the scabbards, none of the straps are painted, which that would have really gone a long way had they added that paint. Overall, though, the paint job it's a solid job. They applied it really well. In most of the places, it's very clean. Some of the places could have used a little bit better. Some of them could have used a little bit more paint, but overall, it's a really good paint job. Deadpool comes with a lot of accessories. I mean a lot. So number one, he comes with an alternate head, an unmasked Wade Wilson head, and I already talked about this in the sculpt. Let's see if I can pop this on. One, it's a little bit tight. It's hard to get on, and then it's a little hard for it to move. But this head sculpt is amazing, and it looks great on this figure. See if I can focus this guy in here so you can take a look, but just look at the detail work. The paint work that they did on this head is amazing. I can't say enough for it. And then he comes with these two swords. Uh, if you look close, you can see they did some real nice paint detail work on the handles, which is awesome. Now, the plastic, it's very bendable, which is actually quite nice. You can see here it bends pretty well. And that's good so that they can actually fit into his scabbards, because they're not quite shaped the way that they should be, but they slide in pretty nice. One thing that would be nice is if you could actually adjust the angle of those scabbards so that maybe they could cross behind him, but it still is really cool. Then he also comes with these matching pistols, which the running theme with all of his accessories is there's pretty much very little paint on any of it, but they're sculpted really nicely. And if I can get this to focus, there we go. It's a nice sculpted pistol. And the cool part too is they have holsters that they can fit into, and they actually fit relatively well into his hands, or at least his left hand, which is kind of difficult to get in. Let's see if I can actually get it in there. Okay, perfect. So you can see his finger actually fits in the trigger guard, and it looks pretty good. It's sized relatively well for him, so I'm happy with that. And he's got a holster on his hip for that. Let's see if I can slide that guy in. There we go. Perfect. Okay, but we're not done with the accessories. He still has some more accessories. He's got this little knife, which isn't really that little, but it's little compared to the swords. And this is sculpted really nicely. It looks cool. They've got some nice detail work on the handle. Not a lot for paint, but you know what? It really doesn't need very much paint because it looks great without it. And then this just slides right into the shin sheath right there, and that fits perfectly. All right, so he also comes with this gun. I don't really know exactly what this thing is. It's sculpted relatively nicely. It doesn't look all that realistic, but and there's no paint on it, but it's, you know, it's another gun that's fun. And then he comes with this little gun. I don't know if it's a Tommy gun or what it is, but this is also, it's sculpted really nicely. It's a really cool little gun. On focus, there we go. But there's no paint on it, and so it looks a little bit cheesy. So Deadpool also comes with a bazooka, and this thing is really cool. It's sculpted really well. There's no paint on it, and it comes with a boxing glove on the end. And I'm really happy that they made it so that it pegs in and out, because it could be a little too cheesy to have a gun with a boxing glove on it. The cool thing with this thing is it does peg into his back, so he can carry that on his back as well, which is pretty sweet. So you can see that he's able to carry most all of his accessories right on him. And last but not least, he comes with a taco. And it's really cool. I like this taco. Should have been a chimichanga, but you know, I'm still pretty happy. It is a little difficult to get him to hold it because his hands are very tight. There we go. So he can stand and hold his taco, and he is able to carry most all of his other accessories, which is awesome. The question now is this the best Deadpool figure we've ever seen? And the answer is it's pretty darn close. Now I don't have like the old Toy Biz Series 6 Deadpool that had been going for a couple $100 in package. I don't have that one. I never liked the look of it. It looked weird. So this figure, I would say, is probably one of the best 6-inch Deadpool figures that I've seen. Now I know that the Revoltech or Revoltech Deadpool is coming out as well fairly soon. That one may actually be a better Deadpool figure. It's probably going to have better articulation and whatnot. But for the Hasbro figures, this is a real win, and I definitely recommend that you go pick this one up. Go get it now before they are completely out of stores and no longer being sold at retail, because I don't think we're going to see this guy selling for 20 bucks anytime soon. So I hope this review has been helpful. Stay tuned for more. Make sure you hit subscribe, and I will see you later.
Tetris Brain Blast.